everyone, Riff here, and we're back with new Nier Replicant episodes. So I'm gonna try it a bit different. The thing is, we're going to play on a different save file. As you can see here, I have here ending C. So the thing is, we start off where I left off, where I was level 18. Only we didn't have the ending, so we won't see any A being cutscene, but pretty much they're the same. The only difference is like more gets added. Like if in this ending we get to see the exact same things, like in this playthrough when you play ending A, you won't see much unless for the good story. You know, the good ending, Nier saves Yona, and they live happily after. Not much of a special scene. And then in B is an extension, so you replay the game and basically get to hear and see back or other characters' emotions and thoughts, like thoughts of Emil and Kaine, and also the perspective of the shade. So they get to we get some explanation for them and the things they do. And then ending C, we're playing it now. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna play all the way up to the final boss and make the same decision as ending C. So we get to see ending C because that one really matters, and then we get ending D because that's where stuff gets different. And once ending D is done, I have to erase the save file. And once that's erased, we get to see ending E, which leads to, spoiler, Automata. And maybe I stream Automata or play it sometime. So yeah, let's get started.
Whenever I interacted with Kaine, I was reminded about something from my past. Maybe my mind has been confusing her with my sister this whole time. Anyway...
Sure. The sound of the rain filled the village. Steep cliffs that surrounded the area magnified sound, causing even the slightest drizzle and to rattle like a sandstorm. And wisps of smoke streamed from huts, and villagers huddled in their homes and waited out the rain. A single child, however, he braved the downpour and was now wandering slowly toward the wooden hawk-shaped weather vane at the center of town. The wanderer reached the fan, which had existed for as long as any could remember, and stared. The child's face was stimulously delicate and fierce, like a teacup that had survived our shipwreck. Those traits combined with a pale white skin to give the face an almost sexless quality. If the beak turns east, I go home. If it stays west, then I... The child blinked. Rain slowly swept down the young one's short hair and began in solemn descent to the ground. Come on, come on. The child felt a slight breeze and watched as the fan slowly cracked to life. Spinning the sway, and for the moment it finally settled with the beak pointing firmly towards the east. East? Really? Before the fan could move again, and Jack Rock came spinning and twirling through the air, striking home against the child's head. The force of the blow dropped the child to the ground as a hail of stones began to fall all around. Oh no, they found me. A heartbreaking smile crept across the child's face as the stones continued to tear the salt. Through the rain, the sound of multiple footsteps grew louder before a voice rang. Yo, Kaine. The voice belonged to Timo, worst of all the bullies in the area. As Kaine struggled to stand, a final stone came skewering through the mud and bounced against her foot. Blood oozed from a cut above her eye and blurred her vision, but she could make out the shapes of Timo and his usual gang of idiots. The boys seemed taken aback for a moment by Kaine's seeming indifference to the blood dripping off her face, but quickly regained his bravado. What's up, freak? You like the rain? You like getting all wet? Or did you finally decide to run away from home? Though she knew it was futile, Kaine turned to leave. Before she could get more than a few steps, the other children scrambled to surround her, cruelty burning in their eyes. Kaine knew those were not the only eyes on her. The tormentors' parents watched from the safety of their homes. She was attuned to this sensation. It was one she had experienced many times before. It was something that simply turned a blind eye to the actions of their children. Many encouraged it openly. In a society ruled by superstition and fear, Kaine was something to be hated and if possible destroyed. I didn't say you could re-freak. Timo's words chewed at her like a worm through an apple. He can't hurt me, she lied to herself. Be strong, be brave. He can't hurt me. He can't. Oh look, the little freak's gonna cry. What's wrong? Are you sad that everyone hates you and wants you dead? Kaine prayed for the rain to flood down and carry her away from the world that seemed to have no place for her. As if there were gods, they chose to ignore her. As Dama crept even closer, the clouds began to thin and rain slowed. Even the weather hates me. I'm useless. I'm a failure. I wish Diamond's rogue had taken my head off. Kaine couldn't meet Diamond's leering gaze. She lowered her eyes and stared at the muddy ground below. Timothy moved forward until she was inches away. She could smell a scent of old meat on his breath. The boy grabbed Kaine's face with thick fingers and yanked it upward. She tried to run away, but he forced her to gaze back and jammed his thumb against her eyelid to pry it open. Show me. No. Did you say no? Taimo grinned evilly. You don't say no to me. No one says no to me. Even taking his attention from Kaine, he called to his cohorts. Come on guys, let's give the freak what she deserves. As soon as the timer finished, kicks and blows began to rain down upon Kaine. I paused, still grinning, as Kaine curled into a ball and tried to make the pain stop. I don't get you, freak. What you acting like a girl for? Everyone knows what you really are. Kaine ignored the question, choosing instead to stare at the water underwater vein. It continued to point east, as if supremely confident about the future it had chosen for her. Go home? Yeah, that's a funny joke for someone with dead parents and no home to go. Freak, chanted children. Freak, freak, freak. Kinda closed her eyes until she listened to the rain, waiting for the pain to start again. As the clutching hands of children closed around her, she bent her mind to the sound of the rain letting me become her entire world. The rain fell, but the pain never came. Only when the laughter of her tormentors turned into terrified cries did she ever open a single blood-caked eye. I know I shook to see Daima now sprawled on the ground, holding his head and screaming in pain. She could see blood welling from the space between his fat, twisted fingers. Oh my god, he's crying. He's actually crying. Deprived of their leader, the other children glanced back at the fort between themselves, as if waiting for someone to step forward and take charge. When our savior emerged, they began an uneasy shuffle away from Kaine. And the young girl was the least of their concerns. Instead, their attention was wrapped on the Asian woman standing a few feet away. After struggling for breath for a moment, she finally spoke in a voice thick with rage. I was like a bitch, done it. Now I suggest you scatter before I throw another one. And if any of you little bastards ever touch Kaine, I'll do far worse than throw a rock. You can count on it. The old woman crouched down and gently touched the hand the timer was using to cover the wound. Before he could think to protest, she ground her palm into the wound and twisted back and forth. "Ow!" he screamed. In his feet. "Stop it! What are you doing?" "Quit whining. Ain't no one ever died from a scratch. You hit me with a rub, you stupid bitch. A big one. That thing gonna kill me." The old woman shrugged. "That is the best gift for us to put." Diamond's face twisted with rage at her words. Locking his eyes on Kaine, he took a step backward and spat on the ground. "Get out, leave the village. No one wants you here, either of you." Seeing the old woman grab another stone, Daimo and his companions turned tail and ran. As they fled, the old woman grabbed her side and barked out a single laugh. "Huh, look you fat boy go. Guess he's healthy enough to run from a fight." The woman's smile faded as she turned her attention to Kaine. Leaning down, she removed her shawl and placed it around the young girl's shoulder, then produced a cloth from the folds on her dress and began blotting at the blood of her forehead. "Oh, Kaine," she said, "why didn't you fight back? You're stronger than that. A lot." The words of her grandmother stung Kaine as she turned away. "Don't be nice to me," she said. "I don't deserve it. Nothing matters anymore." Her tears, held in check for so long, finally began to fall down the muddy ground below. Everyone hates me. They think I cause bad things to happen. They think I'm a freak. I wish I was dead." As Kaine's tears turned to sob, she felt her grandmother's hands on her shoulders. Despite her advanced age and diminutive size, she was a woman of surprising strength. Kaine found herself unable to turn away. Don't talk like that, girl. It's a river wide and deep that flows between the realms of this world and the next, and it grants no mercy to any that attempt crossing. You got a duty to fight until your last breath. Understand? The old woman tightened her grip and tried to still the tremor in her voice. You know the pain of losing someone close to you, Kaine. You know because you survived it. As the words hit home, Kaine was struck by the force of her love for the old woman. As a young child, she didn't even know her grandmother, and when her parents died, no one quickly accepted her as her own. Grandma, as Kaine called her, was cunning, vulgar, and quick to violence, and their first year together had not been easy. But with each year that passed, Kaine and her grandmother had grown closer. However, it was only now, sitting in the mud, with tears blood cake in her face, that Kaine truly understood the depths of her affection. Her was a woman who had seen hard times, who had seen death, who had fought through all these things and somehow emerged on the other side. If anyone could understand Kaine's pain and loneliness, it was her. Don't that make you sick, Grandma? Of course not. Don't be an ass. Kaine drew her grandmother's moth-eaten shawl around her body and shuddered. My body. It's not normal. If I was normal, then Mom and Dad wouldn't. Hush, interrupted Grandma. I'll not hear another word of this nonsense. You're my granddaughter, and I love you. And if folks have a problem with that, they can just go to hell. With that, the old woman reached out and placed the wreath of dried flowers in Kaine's hair. Skilla took the flowers without breaking the stems or losing a single petal was remarkable. And the beauty of it made Kaine want to cry all over again. Oh my gosh, these are little tears. Grandma, did you make this for me? Little tears are legendary flowers. Most people could live their entire lives without ever seeing one. And yet, our grandmother had somehow collected a dozen or more. Kaine reached up and touched them, and read as she couldn't believe it was real. Where did you find these? Just stumbled on him while I was doing some shopping. The old woman turned away, and as she spoke, getting kind of suspect that the search had been more difficult than she was letting on. The pain she took to construct the ornament, let alone track down the flowers used in its construction, Miss Kaine's head hurt. She reached up gently, adjusted the wreath, admiring the way it felt between her fingers. Wreath? I don't know if I'm reading it right. Didn't quite turn out right, said the grandmother as she squinted at it. These old hands have trouble with delicate work. They're sure looks good on a pretty girl like you. Kaine blushed and turned away. You think I'm pretty? Of course you are. What a foul thing to say. Thank you, Grandma. Her grandmother smiled. We're gonna be fine, you and me, she said. As long as we got each other, we'll just be fine. I took her grandmother's hands in hers. Two of them struggled to their feet. As they began to walk home, Kaine gripped the hand with her might. is as she's trying to stop smoke from drifting away in the wind. The rain stopped. Kaine stood beneath a weather fan, watching it spin in lazy circles, no longer caring about the direction it faced when it stopped. I don't need to escape. I have home now. Grandma lost me, and that's enough. Even if it's against the world. Kaine let her gaze drizzle past the fan and into the cloudy sky. The last faint hints of a rainbow slowly fading. As she turned and headed home, the light scattered into a million particles and vanished, seemingly taken away on the breeze. In the distance, Kaine heard the steady sounds of an axe striking wood. The noise had a purposely quality to it, as she is hearing a master woodsman go about his work. The firewood being produced, however, was far from a work of art that could be. Pieces of every shape, and size were being flung about barren yard, but without abandon. Anyone trying to stake such a wood would probably die of frustration before the job was through. So what piece of shit axe? Kaine's grandmother flailed away with the axe, filling the air with both splinters of wood and words that would make the most hardened sailor blush. Grandma, called Kaine. That you, Kaine? Yelled the old woman, taking her eyes off the wood for a moment. Don't get too close, or I might take your goddamn foot off by mistake. She brought the axe down on the piece of wood, sending chips flying in every direction. One spun past Kaine close enough for her to hear the whistle, at which point she decided to step back. Once she got to a safe distance, she cupped her hands around her mouth and shouted, "Grandma, do you need help? I can get you water or lunch or a new axe or something." The axe poised to strike another wobbly blow past in midair. The old woman considered her granddaughter's offer for a moment, then smiled. "Tell you what, since I'm doing such a piss poor job of chopping, why don't you come here and take over so I can get the water? I have been restless lately. I don't want you running into one of those bastards." Relinquishing the axe, and Grandma picked up a long pole with wooden buckets on either end. Carrying water was far more difficult of the two jobs. Kaine knew better than to complain. Once Grandma's mind was set, there was no changing it. I did her best to help with the chore. Grandma took every task that required travel to the village. Though she had a long list of plausible excuses, Kaine knew the real reason. She didn't want her granddaughter to be taunted and harassed by the villagers. Once Kaine moved, Grandma decided to take up their residence in a good distance from the area. Out of sight and out of mind seemed to be the best policy when it came to the village and her granddaughter. And there were days when any but the two of them could be found on the rocky acre of land they called home. Kaine enjoyed solitude, but harbored the secret and resentment that her grandmother was forced to spend her golden years in such a place. While watching her grandmother leave, Kaine turned her attention to the task in hand. She had never chopped wood before in her life, and soon discovered why the old woman hated the chore. Swing after swing, the axe produced a tiny crack in the wood, and when she finally managed to connect it with a solid strike, the tool emptied itself in the log and refused to budge. Stated, Kaine swung the axe around her head and threw it, log and all, across the yard. Damn it, crap! She suddenly understood the joy her grandmother felt in such a good cause. Happy now, she picked up the axe, forced it from the wood, and resumed chopping. She had a natural skill with a blade. The task was challenging, and blisters soon began to form on her small pink hands. This is tough. My looks are all weird sizes. Spitting on her palm and ignoring the pain, Kaine redoubled her efforts. Just as she was developing a rhythm, Grandmother returned from the village. Setting down her buckets with a small sigh, she took one at the logs and caught out a wheezy laugh. Pretty clumsy, girl. You better practice if you... Grandma suddenly collapsed on her knees, causing one of the buckets to wobble precariously. Eyes wide, Kaine dropped the axe and ran to her grandmother's side. Grandma! The old woman shook her head and pointed at the trembling finger at the bucket. Get the bucket and let's spill. Instead of the bucket with her foot, she knelt by her grandmother. A small bit of water sloshed over the side and made a new home in the hem of her dress, but Kaine didn't notice. Grandma, what's happening? Crazed with panic, she grabbed her grandmother by the shoulder and shook. After a moment, the woman lifted her arms and patted Kaine away. Stop that, just stop, she cried, breathing heavily. It ain't like I'm dying. Just tired from the trip, that's all. I definitely wanted to believe her. But one look at the old woman's shaking hands and worn face told her more than what she ever could. Grandma had lived a long, hard life, and it seemed the bill was finally coming due. The time when her grandmother watched over Kaine was ending. Sooner than either of them had feared, the positions would be reversed. Next morning, Kaine came to the side of the grandmother's bed and took her wrinkled hand. Now you're sick, you need medicine. I'm going to the village. The old woman shook her head and tried to turn to her eyes, but Kaine gently pushed her down. It's alright, she said. I'll be fine. I'm gonna fix your case, but that could melt steel. After what seemed an eternity, she finally lowered her eyes and sighed. Well, I don't like it, goddammit. I guess I should quit being so stubborn and let you grow up. Old woman watched as Kaine strapped her boots and made her way down the road to the village. Hours later, as an unseen sun made it across the dark and rainy sky, she will be watching. Kaine moved at a brisk pace, checking her pockets every few minutes to make sure money her grandmother gave her was still there. Every noise caused her to spin on her heels, making sure she wasn't being stalked by Shade, or worse, a Diamond and his gang. She encountered neither tormentors nor Shade, and Kaine finally found herself at the entrance to the village. The few adults could see glanced sideways at her, then muttered to each other behind raised hands before sneaking away into the shadows. Hearts racing, Kaine took a series of rapid, shallow breaths and tried to calm himself. I had to prove myself. I have to help Grandma. I had to be strong. She chanted those words to herself over and over as she slowly made her way. Finally her eyes settled on a rotund older woman was angrily waving her arms in the air and telling anyone who would listen exactly what she thought of Kaine's presence. "Hey lady," said Kaine with a bravado she did not feel. What's that hypocrisy? The woman's flabby cheeks shook with bewildered anger. "How dare this speak to me?" they seemed to say, but Kaine saw it in her eyes and held a different emotion, fear. "Yeah, we're both scared, lady. Touch me on this." "Which way?" Kaine repeated. The woman pointed at a small boomerang to her right before hitching up her dress and stumbled off in another direction. Kaine grinned, expecting a stone to come flying from a assembled crowd, but none came. Her mind was filled with a strange sense of pride as she made her way to the apothecary. Apothecary? No, wait. See if I'm saying that right. But the new emotion had little time to take root, for as soon as she opened the door, she noticed the familiar customer at the counter. It was Daimao. He'd clearly sent here by some kid of family errand, because his gang of followers was nowhere to be found. "Oh my god," he sputtered. "I mean, what are you doing here, freak?" The insult was delivered without force, and Kaine happily ignored it. Searching her tiptoes to see over the counter, she asked the shopkeeper for medication. "Ah, poor Daimao. The old bitch finding me all over? Go to hell, Daimao." The boy's eyes grew so wide they seemed ready to fall out of his head. Before he could let fly a comeback, or worse, a punch, the apothecary told him to knock it off before he kicked him out of the store. The almost sunk out of the shop, cursing Kaine under his breath. Once he was gone, she allowed herself to breathe once more, taking a brief tour of the shop while the owner prepared her medication. Constantine was filled cram store, each word written in some despicable language. An ocean of aromas assaulted her nose. Getting a scent that was exotic, but not altogether unpleasant. Seeing such a variety of supplies gave Kaine a sense of peace. Surely, in a world so vast, there would be a place that she would call home. Sorry, bit gassy. On the far wall behind the counter rested a portrait of a stunning young girl. The picture had once contained bright, vibrant colors, but time had worked its cruel magic, and they were beginning to fade. The beauty of works, however, remained undiminished. You like that picture? Kaine turned to find the apothecary with a small vial of medicine in his hand. His eyes were gentle but sad, and they seemed to stare through her onto nothing as he spoke. "It's my daughter. I guess when she was just a little girl. She's been dead for a long time now." Kaine didn't know how to respond. She just stared at the potter and tried to come up with the right words. "Pictures are wonderful things," continued the shopkeeper. "They let one's closest to you live on forever." He shook his head slightly, then looked down at Kaine and smiled. Handing her the medicine, he reached into his seasonable cream apron and produced a handful of old wax crayons. "You should have these. There is no left I wish to draw." Kaine took an instinctive step back, causing the shopkeeper's face to darken. "Yes, I've heard the rumors about you," he said. "It's a small finish and washed through quickly. Between you and me, I'm not sure which one of them to believe, but I also don't think they matter much. I know your grandmother, Callie. And I think the way she was driven out of this town was just deplorable. Grandma's name is Kaine? Thought Kaine suddenly. He was still mulling this new fact over in the mind as she reached and gently took the greens from the apothecary's hand. Your grandmother is an old friend of mine, he said as Kaine scouted away yet again. I owe her much. I figure she would like it if you drew a picture of her. Yes, I think she will like that very much. Kaine murmured a quiet agreement, but inside her heart was bursting. Therefore had a Flusher treated her with anything but complete contempt. It was a tiny, almost inexplicable step, but it was a step nonetheless. No, and with enough tiny steps, she might one day discover the rest of the world. When Kaine returned home, she found her grandmother asleep in her bed. With her blanket and raw, even bleeding in a bit of places, and kind of think she had been pacing around in the room while she was finally caught her up her door. She placed the medicine on her grandmother's pillow and turned to leave, but found the old woman's hand clasped around her arm. Back already, are you? Yes, her grandmother, with a yawn. Come here, let me have a look at you. Grandma sat up and examined Kaine from head to toe, finally satisfied that nothing terrible had befallen her child. She leaned back and allowed herself to relax. Well, how was it? Those monsters gave you any trouble? It was kind of fun, said Kaine with a small smile. No, seriously, it was. Fun, huh? As she ran on her future, which implied she believed anything but. Uh-huh. So anytime you need to run an errand, just let me know. She spoke. Kaine removed the crayons from her pocket. After a brief explanation of the source, she informed her grandmother that she was going to sketch her portrait. Portrait of me? Ridiculous. Not everyone wants to stare at a wrinkled old crone. But Grandma, it will make you live forever. Oh shit, said her grandmother, throwing back the sheet from my bed. Live in forever will just piss me off. Now put those crayons away and help me with dinner. And it would not relent. And in the end, Grandma found herself leaning against the wall of their house as if posing for a master artist. I took the crayons, eyed her subject carefully, and set to work. Just as her grandmother was about to nod off, Kaine finished the piece. I was staring at it for a bit. She released it from her grip and let it slowly drift to the floor. It's terrible. It doesn't look like you at all. Sorry, Grandma. I thought these crayons would, make things easy or something. The old woman's eyes narrowed at her granddaughter's disappointment. Don't be no judge of that, she said, ignoring the pain in her back and reaching for the paper. This could have been a person's face. It also could have been a boulder or a lumpy clay, or a clay mache loaf of bread, all under a chaotic array of colors. They always stared at the picture for a long time, then slowly reached aloud to laugh. Oh, Kaine, she said between her laughter. You're truly my blood. You're clumsy as me and I love it. But, hush. Not here for any more poo about how ugly you think it is. It came from the heart and I'll treasure it always. To her word, the old woman gave the picture up place a folder above the kitchen table. In the days that followed, Kaine would often catch her staring at the portrait with a strange smile on her face, an action she interpreted as silent mocking laughter. A week later, Kaine could stand no more and asked her grandmother to take the artwork down. Push said the old woman, "I'll take it down when they roll me in my shroud." She ponders this for a bit, then turned Kaine and dropped to one knee. "This is dummy girl. Seeing the pictures make me happy in a way I've never felt before. And it makes me want to go, so that someday you can feel the same happiness." It was a moment that burnt itself in Kaine's memories. Pure blend of pride and love and joy that came together for a lifelong remembrance. She swore to never forget the moment, to never forget the old woman who had made her place in the world possible. Time moves on. All the memories move in and out of life, like a ghost passing through a hall. But the moment will be different, Kaine swore, because I will remember it forever. Forever. Kaine listened to the sound of crackling wood and stared at a black object on her plate. She'd been pushing it around on the wooden disc for a good 10 minutes, ignoring the mush stare of her grandmother. Finally, she summoned the courage and gave the object a little brief sniff. So a bit of sand flew up her nostrils and made it home, causing her face to twist with disgust. "Grandma, I can't believe you want to eat me a bug." The old woman threw some more wood under the cooking pot and snorted. "It's no bug, you fall, girl. It's a berry." "Why the hell would I be feeding you bugs?" "Yeah, well, it sure looked like a bug," said Kaine. "I think it gets burned or something because it smells terrible." With that, Kaine held her nose and threw the berry in her mouth, chewing as little as possible. "Oh yeah, that's horrible, right?" "You let up right," laughed the old woman. "I'm gonna sass on you. You've been spending too much time with me, and that's a fact." 5 years had passed since the moment Kaine's grandmother saved her life from the bullies. It's often the way those two stubborn people with their relationships had grown in fits and starts, but they moved forward all the same. Those that used to be somber affairs were now filled with laughter and held abuse in equal measure. Kaine could not remember the time when she had been happier. She ran by. Kaine started to shoulder more and more daily responsibilities. Her grandmother's legs felt weaker by the day, and she could no longer do any more chores she used to take for granted. I'm gonna turn on the light. It saves my eyes. And so this morning, I found Kaine lacing up her work boots with brackets of burnt berry rolling through her belly. "Where are you going today?" asked Grandma suddenly. I looked up surprised. The old woman rarely asked for specific anymore. "Well, I was gonna check out Kalma trees, see if they were ripe. I thought we could make some jam or something, and I'm going to pick up some flagstones. So I need to take the wheelbarrow. Flagstones? What in the hell for?" Kaine stared at her grandmother then held out an arm and swept it around her own. Constructed the mast, the end clothed her open, and rubbled the old place snuggled like a box in the final round. Grandma dying cat could chew through his house. I'm going to build a stone wall so you have some protection. Oh, Mama loves exposing her toothless grin to the world. Goddamn girl, if a bunch of thieves wanna ransack this old place, let him come. Got nothing worth stealing anyway. Don't worry about thieves, I'm worried about shades. People saw one in the West Village yesterday. The woman tilted her head and stared at her granddaughter. Well, shoot. I don't know why you have to do it today. You can worry about it some other. Grandma, no. If we don't go to the Kelma tree, you won't eat tonight. You know that. His expression passed across the old woman's face. For a moment, she was a small child lost at a carnival. Yes, she said after a bit. Of course you're right. I'm sorry, Kaine. Lately my mind says. She didn't finish the thought, instead walking over to her nightstand and gently taking the wreath of luminary from the door. The flower's petals had aged to a brilliant whiteness, and Kaine thought it was more beautiful now than the day she first received it. You're gonna be a thrown woman soon, Grandma said as she placed the flowers on the girl's hair. So that means less chatter about shades and building defensive walls, and more like talk about how beautiful you've become. Annoyed, Kaine reached up to remove the garland. The look on the Gladman's face stopped in her hand. You're a beautiful thing, said the old woman. And there ain't another one like you in the world. Very proud of you. Okay, Grandma, that's enough goddamn compliments for a day. Such a mouth, you. Where did the heck come from? Gee, I wonder. I'll teach you some sass, me girl. Told Grandma. Suddenly she lurched forward and grabbed Kaine by the ears, pulling her around the room with a crazy grin on her face. Grandma, yelled Kaine in a quaking voice. Grandma, stop! What the hell? The old woman stared at her, blinked, and slowly held her wrinkled hand out as if it was the first time she'd ever seen them. Oh, I don't know what happened there. I'm sorry, Cole. Sometimes my mind just... Kaine thought she look on her grandmother's face. It was the most heartbreaking thing she had ever seen. Then she began. Maybe I should stay home after all. No, I want to have you here to keep an eye on an old cougar like me. You'll get your fruit and your wool and whatnot, I'll be fine. And when you come back, I'll have you a nice grasshopper dinner waiting for you. Kaine rolled her eyes, then kissed her grandmother on the forehead and made ready to depart, intentionally to ignore the worry that was gnawing at the walls of her heart. Kaine could feel the old woman's eyes watching her as she moved down the path. Don't turn around, she told herself, but the temptation was too great. She spun on her wheel for one final look and saw a small, bent woman standing in front of the ramshackle hut with a sad expression on her face. God, she's so old now. It's like the wind can reach down and just carry her away. Kaine worried about her grandmother all day, causing her work to suffer. The fruit she could collect was tossed carelessly into the wheelbarrow, and she only found a couple of stones before losing interest in the project. Finally, when dusk approached, she finally decided to call it a day. Cursing herself for lack of focus, Kaine pushed the nearly empty wheelbarrow back down the path. I got my voice. Just crossed the final hill, she suddenly froze in place. The wheelbarrow from her fingers and collapsed on the side, sending a few pieces of wrinkled brown fruit rolling back down the hill. Her gaze was transfixed by a thick black cloud that hovered just ahead. Tracing its path with a finger, Kaine suddenly felt her stomach knot on itself. Oh god, it's no... Her grandmother's house was ablaze. The flames still licking up as we were trying to touch the sky itself. Grandma! Grandma! Kaine ran faster than she ever moved in her life. Once she tripped on a stone and went sprawling into the rocky ground. She leapt to her feet and continued running, unmindful of the blood that spilled from her wounds on her hands and knees. She got closer and closer. His mind began to race in time with her footfalls. It's too dark. It's too dark. Not just fire. Can't be fire. Too much smoke. Gotta save her. Gotta save her. She burst into the front yard and came to a sudden halt. Her worst suspicion confirmed. Smoke from the fire was mingling with the thick inky blankness of an enormous shade. The magic creature supported itself on twisted feet, achieved balance through means of a large armored tail. Scales, horns, and claws spouted from its body in a random chaotic pattern, giving the appearance of a lizard designed by some insane god. Seeing Kaine, it let a roar out and flicked still, sending a small whirlwind spinning around the yacht. For a moment, the creature retreated into a shimmering inky blackness, as if her mind was unable to comprehend that such a thing could actually exist. And then, the smell hit her. A band of rotten meat and excrement. Horror became real once more. Creature below again. And this time Kaine responded with a scream of her own. Alright, you bastard, she thought. Her scream echoed off the cliffs around her. It's you or me, let's go. The shade-eyed Kaine with amused interest. Then he began looking from her to the house and back again. I always want to know if this voice or not. No, sorry. As if urging her to look at the destruction it had so gleefully wrought. With that building in her heart, Kaine glanced towards her house. To the smoke and flames, she spotted a small figure struggling to escape the ruins. Grandma! The sound of her voice, the old woman began waving frantically. She's alive, thought Kaine. Alive! Kaine even explained to life. He raced across the yard towards the flaming wreckage of the house. She called and falls more a few steps. The shade opened his mouth and let out a word powerful enough to uproot teeth and send them flying. Lost and Kaine traveling through the air before smashing her against the rocky earth. Stars danced in front of her eyes. She tried to remember how her legs were. Get up! Get up! Get up! Get up now! As Kaine struggled to her feet, the shade stalked towards the house and pinned her grandmother to the ground with the tip of a claw. They almost struggled to move the claw from her stomach, but she might well have been pushing a mountain. She caught briefly, sending a small spray of blood into the air, and collapsed to the ground, her energy spent. Her feet falling back to the earth with a gasp. Her ankles were on fire. One or both of them were surely broken. Ignoring the pain that screamed through her body, she began dragging herself across the ground, leaving a drunken trail of blood in her Wait, Grandma, hold on, just a little longer. Grandmother's face was turning blue, her eyes were back until only whites were exposed. Kaine pulled herself across the ground with madness slowness, and seeming crazy with every second that passed. The snake closed between the two women and flicked out his tongue. It's a giant mouth turning up its corners, short panting breaths belch from somewhere deep inside its core. Bastard laughing at us. She had no idea how such a mindless creature could experience emotion. But there could be no doubt the shape was taking joy in their suffering. Yeah, I see your plan. And he moved his claw slightly, allowing Grandma to breathe again. It was clearly keeping her alive, only to snuff out her life when Kaine was close enough to touch her. I'm gonna kill this bastard. Something hollister and Kaine rose to her feet. There was a sickening snap from her right ankle as the foot twisted backward. She forced it from her might and began to hobble towards the monster, pulling a small eye from the bones at the wrist. Released, she leapt the foot that pinned her grandmother and plunged the weapon deep. Give her back, screamed Kaine. Give her back to me. It was like scamming her mom. After a few swipes, the knife broke and held with a dull snap. The shape panted louder again and raised its tail and sent it rushing towards the young girl that was lashed on his foot. Kaine never had a chance, and the tail struck her square in the chest, sending her crashing into the burning wreckage of the home. As she lay on the ground with blood pouring from multiple wounds, a small, weak voice spoke up. Kaine? Kaine's vision blurred, but she forced herself to focus on the sound. Finally her eyes cleared, enough for her to make out her grandmother's hands reaching out to her through the smoke. Grandma, Kaine gotta run. You can't pass this one. Kaine grabbed the hands and held on with all her strength. Grandma, come on, we have to go. The old woman caught loudly. One of her hands, slick with blood, slipped from Kaine's grasp and thumped to the ground below. Grandma, no, no! I said run, goddammit. You have to live. You have to get through. The thought would stay forever unfinished. She couldn't say another word. The shake's clawed foot sent smashing through the remains of the roof, down upon the shuddering figure of the old woman. Blood oozed from the gasp in the creature's toes as the terrible buttered smell assaulted Kaine's nose once again. She stared at the foot, dumbfounded, convinced that she was being could not possibly be real. And the creature finally lifted its appendage. The remaining underneath was twisted and raised on a mass of rubble and red. The grandmother was gone. Kaine blinked, trying to feel hands that had been in hers for just a moment before. For a fleeting instant she could remember the warmth of that embrace, the trembling of the fingers. But the sensation drifted away from the breeze and was gone. Memories flashed to Kaine's mind, one after another, faster and faster, till they became the meaningless jangle of noise. Kaine screamed and a thunderous sound that echoed of the cliffs and seemed to roll away forever. Shade eased forward. yak ichor pouring from his mouth and dissolved into smoke the ground below. The earth shook with every step it crept towards its prey. Kaine's body slowly rose as if controlled by a mad puppet master. Her arms, legs are bent at impossible angles. Her head lolled dangerously to the side, yet somehow she managed to stand. Staring at the shade, her eyes began to glow with a deep red fire. The creature, so confident just moments before, took a slow, hesitant step backwards, without discerning his broken human could possibly pose a threat. Kaine seized the moment, laughing like a madman. She leapt into the air and plunged the shattered hilt of her knife deep into the leg of the shade. Shade shook Kaine off like a fly, sending it crashing to the earth once more. Again. Her chest rose and fell slowly, as if the great weight were resting on it. Moist sounds of pain echoed through her mind, something warm and ticklish from her ears. Blood? Think of this. Think I'm bleeding to death. No, I can't. I can't die. Grandma told me to live. Deep inside Kaine's mind, something funny broke. All pain and smoke and flames. All to fade away until all remained was a single incantation repeated over and over again. Kill it! 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 Okay, yeah. Kill it now! Spark was... As a spark that was Kaine slowly began to flicker and die. She felt her desire to kill and desire to live blend into one. This between heartbeats grew longer and longer and longer.
The beast approaches.
Oh, I know.
Okay.
What anger this creature must have.
Oh god, the audio.
Survived these past 5 years.
It sounds so broken when I'm listening to it.
It dies today. I saw it. It's lighter. It's not the blade, but the skill of the user.
Yeah,
Strike
this
it
sounds
down.
weird. I might restart the game. Kinda had a toughie out. Oh. My weapon is too OP. Gently, weakly, softly. The shade sure that was his tormentor was dead, turned into stone toward the horizon, stopping along the way before to below one final roar. Couldn't kill it. Chain beyond imagining. Kaine tried to turn her head to the side, but only succeeded in coughing up a huge god of blood. It's getting difficult to see, and only when after a moment of fierce concentration did she realize on her left eye was gone. Unto herself, she turned her remaining eye to the ruins of her home and noticed a rich stump of arms resting away. Yeah, that's mine. She thought with a mad giggle. This is gonna make clapping a real bitch. Ah, cried a sudden voice from the depths of her mind. Finally gonna die, are ya? Well, you only had it coming. Go tell Daimo. She thought it the unseen and silent. Go to hell before I pluck out your eyes and feed them to the dogs. The voice of her childhood terror evaporated into smoke, only to be replaced by another, more recent voice. Hold still, said the apothecary. What the hell is that word? Apothecary. Apothecary? Materializing from the ruins like a ghost. I want to draw you. That way you couldn't live forever. No, stop. Don't want to live forever. To die right here. I see, he said quietly. Is that what you want? The spectral subtlety fluttered in and out of existence for a moment, then produced a piece of paper and sketched quickly. After a few seconds, he turned the page, reached to Kaine and smiled. Since you rejected my offer, I decided to draw someone else. It was a picture of her grandmother, real as life. Kaine opened her mouth to thank the man. It stopped as the picture began to blacken in the middle, before she could say anything. Those multi-legged insects began to swarm across the image, tearing it and with a sharpened pincers. No, stop, told her the picture. I reached out with her remaining arm and waved futility in the air. They were surprised. The insects fell off the picture and to the ground, where they vanished into a tiny black tendrils of smoke. Relief, Kaine turned her good eye back to the picture and to open her mouth in a silent scream. The sketch now showed her grandmother as she truly was, smashed, unrecognizable lump of nothing. The apothecary smiled, then broke into a jolly dance. See that? He cried. He danced in his jigs. It's perfect now. She looks like that. I look like that? God, gonna die. I'm gonna die. Toning in despair, Kaine let her head back into the mud and smoke over her room and house and waited for the end to come. But just before she was let everything go, an unfamiliar voice began to whisper in her ear. You got a wish, sunshine? Oh, the music is twisted. The voice was vulgar and fierce. She said at the same time, as if it instantly had somehow found a way to take form. Kaine wanted to scream, and as the voice crawled under her skin, but her lungs refused to work. You know, I wish, like a prayer or something. You need to get you on your knees and start praying to heaven. Peace, invisible man in the sky, save me, save me. Kaine fire, he started shouting at the voice with her mind. I don't make wishes. They don't come true for me. I'm a curse, you freak. I should have left to die. The other voice boomed in her ears. Oh God, you are the best. Kaine glanced down and saw a black shiny substance oozing from her legs. She tried to brush it away, but her remaining arm would no longer respond. The substance slowly crept around her feet and began moving upward to the rest of her body. Is this that? Is this what it feels like? Or is my mind just losing itself? She could feel the slimy oozing upward, feel a hot, searing pain in the left and its wake. Whatever else might be happening, she felt still alive, and it was real. Come on, said the voice, let go. Kaine tried to ignore the voice and concentrate on the pain, but never will have none of it. Don't ignore sunshine. You're ready to give up? Ready to die. So why not let me have it? Have what? Your body. Come on, give it to me. Give it to me. I want to stand on the ground, feel the rain, taste the wind. The voice paused as if it licked its lips. As a result, it was filled with mad, unabated joy. I want to take it in your hands and use them to choke the goddamn life out of people. I want to tear out their throats and bathe in blood just like before. In response, Kaine shifted her head and vomited. The round of crept on her front end, mingled with the pain of it encroaching black ooze. Are you a shade? Yeah, maybe. What of it? The slime reached her face, crept up and past her nose, and slowly oozed into the socket of her missing eye. The moment it touched her brain, Kaine struck the most powerful sensation she ever felt in life. It was ecstasy. Ecstasy? Okay, I'm reading it. Ecstasy. She wanted to scream with delight, but all she could manage was a small, whispered moan. Feels good, don't it? Asked the voice with a chuckle. Yeah, what can I say? I know how to please the ladies. Now give me that body. Come on, give me. I'll give you more of this feeling. It's a fair treat. A blank lump began to protrude Kaine's side. As she watched it grew longer and thicker, eventually taking the form of her missing arm. Can see better, she thought. Hers must be growing back too. So arm is up to envelope to the rest of her face, but she managed to brush it away. Stop, she whispered, marveling at how she had to regain her voice. Stop. The black voice hesitated, as if it considered his request, then quickly shimmered down her body before disappearing in a cloud of smoke. Oh, what the hell, sunshine? Screamed the voice. What a deal, I thought you wanted to die. Grandma said, I can't die yet. A brief image of her grandmother, blooded and broken, flashed before her eyes. She saw the shade that was killed her and heard the mocking laughter. They closed her eye and forced the image from her mind. Her body was quaking with rage. She opened her eyes again. They burned bright red. Think to my grandmother, I have to kill her before I die. Kaine glanced down and saw a mysterious pattern, the pattern of the shades, pouring itself into her left arm. I'll be damned, said the voice cheerfully. Look at that, sunshine. I think you and me are gonna be good friends now. Kaine started intentionally at her arm. The more emotional she felt, the more the latter seemed ready to puncture her skin and begin infecting the rest of her body. The arm clearly had a will of its own. Stop. Gotta stop. Holding her left arm in her right, Kaine took a deep breath and tried to calm herself. Come on, don't fight it, pleaded the voice. It's my favorite dish and I'm hungry. Let go. Feel the anger, burn with fires of revenge. Thirst for blood, then go out there and shut up. Shut up and get the hell out of my body. Your body? Oh, this is sunshine, real rich. And why don't you just shut up and die so I can have it all and have this body for myself? What do you say? I bet this body of yours in the area will love to see you dead. Kaine grabbed a nearby shard of glass and tried to saw the shade's infected portion of her side. Before she called, the darkened left hand grabbed her right wrist, cursing it. And she then dropped the shard on the ground, of bones crunching on bone filled the air. Stupid idiot girl, you're possessed now, and there ain't no going back. The voice laughed again. A loud, long wait seemed to go without end. Possessed? Whispered Kaine. Yeah, possessed, you and me. We got what you might call a timeshare arrangement. Remember how folks used to think we were a freak? Well, ain't that gonna love you now? Kaine looked up, tears in her eyes. The sky seemed smaller, somehow darker. Is this because of that shade? Is this because of how they see the world? So listen, purred the voice. I know your whole possession thing seemed a bit sudden, but it ain't all bad. There's plenty bit for you too. I'm a very powerful creature, Sunshine. And now the power belongs to you. Got enemies? People we want to kill? Oh yeah, I can make it happen. That little fat kid who kept picking on you? A bill of shit that squash your granny? Or wrap them up in their own assholes. No more abuse for your Sunshine, no more pain. Wait, said Kaine, you're a shade. Why would you help me kill another shade? What, you think I'm some kind of racist? Some killing snob? I don't give a good goddamn who you murdered, honey pants. Just wanna drink from the well. Kaine considered this as she struggled her feet. The power of the shade coursing through her the smoke from her house was drifted away with the wind, and she enjoyed the way the cool evening breeze felt on her new-felt arm. After a long pause, the voice spoke up again. So, how about it? You and me. We're going to have some good times together. Look, I'll even take care of your bloody party if you don't want it. Fuck off, asshole, muttered Kaine. I'll handle the killing. Screamed the voice. Look at you, oh Sunshine, we're gonna have such a good time. There's so much fun. So listen, my name is Tyron. And if you ever need me, I'll just be hanging out of this piece of meat you call your heart. Now get to it. The more you kill, the more your heart turns rotten and sour. And I like rotten and sour. Kaine found herself nodding at the voice. Yeah, she said. Yeah, I think this can work. I'm gonna find that shade. I'm gonna strangle it with its own guts. And when I'm undone, I'm gonna do the same with you, Tyron. Count on it. Ha! Laughed Tyron. I should bigger than you, so good luck with that. Oh, and hey, one more thing. Right now, you and me are just sharing his body. But if you ever run out of hate, if you ever, go soft, then I'm gonna take everything over. So keep on killing, Sunshine. Watch your back. The voice grew fainter and gradually faded away, fading to somewhere deep inside Kaine herself. Kaine waited until she was sure the voice was gone. The waist her left arm around Phil's arms. It feels perfectly normal, she thought. It feels mine. Naturally, she began poking and prodding at a new lamp, determined to find something wrong with it. She didn't want to feel normal. And that will mean the creature inside her had already won. I'm not a shade, I'm Kaine. Repeating the mantra in her mind, she slowly began digging through the rubble of her house, being careful to ignore the certain red stain spotted into the corner. Finally, after what seemed like a journey of heartbreaking work, she found what she was looking for. It was the reef of the Lone Tears. Reef? Though it had been through hell and back, the column's petals were bright as ever. I started to place it on the hair, and slowly lowered the reef and stared at it. I'm sorry, Grandma, I'm so sorry. But I don't deserve to wear this anymore. I'm possessed, corrupted, a freak. And this time, I don't think there's anyone going back. Holding the flowers in her heart, to her heart, Kaine fell to the ground and sobbed. As night gradually lightened, the dawn of people of Eric's day in the lives. She remained in that position as if tears could somehow wash away the horror and infected her world.
Alive! Stay alive! Stay alive!
Grandma.
Kaine, you gotta live! You gotta come back to us!
So I don't know if the audio sounds corrupted for you guys, but on my headphones it is.
Oh, hey. Emil, you were the one calling me, weren't you?
You still recognize me?
Of course. I knew you right away.
Thank you, Kaine.
Welcome back, Kaine.
Wow, you grew up. So, how long has it been?
5 years.
Shit. That's a long time. Any luck with Yona?
We're
What is that?
Alright, we already know about this.
Kaine waking from her long petrified sleep. Emil's unflagging.
Please try to people.
We know you and Kaine
Okay.
say
As long right
It's all clear. Sorry if I have to. Okay, I've been speaking for like 2 hours now,
we should
so I'm gonna end episode here and see the next one.
I didn't get much
Actually-
sleep that night.
It's on the channel, so I think that's uploaded real soon off
For
the
the
channel.
first
So
time in my life, I hated Devil.
guys, you can jump
For
to
the
the next
first time
episode
in
if
my
the audio
life, I
also
doubted
clear, but I'm
people.
gonna end here. So thank you for
But those
watching,
feelings are pointless in the end.
and
They said and did what they did for the
subscribe
sake of the
please and like.
to protect it. Really, how can I blame Devil and Popola? In the end, I'm just as bad. Because I never once stopped to think about Kaine and Emil's situation myself. should apologize to, but what good would that even do? Wait, is that...
Campfires are weird, aren't they? I'm so happy to get to talk to you again, Kaine.
Yeah, me too.
I tried everything I could think of to save you, you know. I polished you with a special cloth. I poured warm water over you.
Wait, you poured water on me?
Yeah, but it didn't really do much except make you all shine.
Hey, Emil. Thanks for saving me.
I guess you noticed how I look different now.
I'm sorry, Emil. I'm sorry for all of it.
Well, I mean, this new form isn't all bad, you know? At least I can look at you when we talk, right? Hey, so why don't you tell me something about yourself?
I'm not very interesting. Sorry.
Come on, I just want to know you better. Please?
Fine. This all happened when I was a kid. Before the whole shade possession thing. My body is... different. And when the villagers found out about it, they started treating me like a freak. But one person, my grandmother, accepted me just as I was. No matter how bad things got, she gave me the strength to keep going.
She's really special to you, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, hey! That gives me an idea. Since we cured your petrification, we should start looking for a way to cure you. I know we can do it if we all work together. Heck, it'll probably be super easy.
Let me guess. More warm water?
Okay. Can we just forget I told you about that?